Hello, welcome back to Bristol News. I'm Steve Lefebvre and it is day 5 of our Mayoral Marathon. All 13 candidates in the spotlight each weekday night, only on this TV channel to help you decide where to put your cross on May the 5th. Now, don't forget you can get in touch, details on the screen now. We want to hear your comments and your questions. It's always great to hear from you. Talking of spotlights, tonight's hopeful has been under one or two himself in his time, comedian, compere, man of the people, and Bristol City fan. Not sure how he feels after last night, but Stoney Garnett just loves Bristol, wants to swap his red trousers for his red fedora. Stoney Garnett, welcome to the programme. Have you got over the disappointment of the result last night, by the way?
No, I'm over the moon. Of course I'm disappointed. Yes, very disappointed in the end. They're a very good side.
Yeah, they are. But to the more important matters, Mayor of Bristol, from a man, as you say, you can go nowhere in this city, but people are shouting out at you. They know who you are.
As you walk around, they shout out cars, lorries, even on the bus, people shout out and they say, Stoney for Mayor. Hopefully I could accommodate them.
But how serious is that? I mean, last time around, and we were saying earlier, we can't believe it's 4 years ago, but you got 1,413 votes, 1.58%. But now you're saying this time this could be a serious attempt.
I've learned a lot from the last time I learned, and I did mention I'm glad George went first, George Ferguson, because I've learned a lot in the last 3.5 years.
He was your warm-up act.
Well, yes. Good question, but I'm very, very serious. I was the first time, but I was a bit naive, I think. And this time I'm not. I'm like the Leicester of Bristol.
I can't imagine you becoming even more streetwise in the last 4 years of your life, Stoney. But what is different this time round? Why do you think this is?
Because once again, it's the second time. So I'm not doing it for ego trip. I'm doing it because I am passionate about my little slogan is like all ship shape in Bristol, passion, not fashion. And I'm doing it again, so it's not an ego trip. I'm doing it because I am passionate about Bristol and I love it. It was
your grandchildren, wasn't it, that sort of got you involved in this whole process?
No, I don't think they understand too much. Yeah. They say, Grandfather, why are you doing this? Why are you, I said, because I love Bristol. Yeah, well, so do we, but I don't think they understand yet. And yet, if it happens, I think there'll be a little bit of a shock. But they do understand a little bit, and they love watching the television or the papers.
You love this city. You're born in Old West.
Yes.
You know every inch of it, and when you come back, you're just delighted. What kind of a city do you want to see? What is the city of Bristol going to be like under Stoney Garnett?
Well, that's an hard question, Steve, but I'd like to bring it back a little bit back to the older times and not so much the modern times, because we are getting full up in the moment. I don't want to see Bristol as a sanctuary. I want to see it as a place you will come, like your stag weekends and all that. But unfortunately, we're getting, all the schools are getting so packed, and the traffic and everything is getting. I think maybe you've got to nip it in the bud somewhere and say, listen, I love Bristol, you probably do, but I think we're getting a little bit full up.
This full up thing interests me, though. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to be like Donald Trump? Are you going to say certain people aren't allowed into the city? No.
I'd never say that.
Shutters? What are you going to do?
No, what I'm saying, I'd never say that. I'm just saying, I'm one of the people, so I don't say if, when I become mayor, I would obviously build houses, but I'd like to know, are we building the houses for? Is it our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren? That's the ones I'm thinking of in 10, 15 years' time when they meet a woman or a man, and where are they going to live? With their mums and dads?
Well, we got the big news today, of course, haven't we? The sell-off of some of the council properties, and the council and George Ferguson will say this is to finance better new housing, but it's causing a big no end of protest.
Well,
where do you stand on that?
It's going to get worse unless you control it, which I think I would try and control it.
Control what?
I think.
Well,
I would. You build houses, but we don't want to end up like New York, do we? Like skyscrapers, like thousands of feet in the air, and which is going that way. I'd have to look into options, but I did mention that I think those prefabs years ago were perfect. Yeah. I'd love to have had a prefab.
Is the danger, though, that you are going to be a mayor of nostalgia, that Bristol was better sort of in the 60s, the 70s. It's a progressive, very successful city now, isn't it?
I agree with you 100%.
Are you the man for that? Are you the man to take it forward?
I have to take a few things on board, Mike. I will say to you, or our public is watching and voting for me, I would have a good committee around me that are more sort of this era in time. Like, you know, they know more than I do. Like with me, I'm not all up together with computers and everything in the middle.
You're not a man for Snapchat and Twitter.
I have got people that are.
Facebook and all of those.
Oh my goodness me. No.
You're looking blank at me here, Stoney. you need to get up with all of that stuff if that happens.
My grandchildren will learn me that, I think.
Yeah, well, back to some of the issues as well. I mean, you've mentioned the housing and the prefabs. Is it serious? Are you going to convince people to move into a prefab in this day and age?
I think it's gone now, but I think they were so easy to build, and it was like pre-war, just after the World War and all that, and people lived in them, and they was getting, you know, they're really, and they decided to build, knock them down. But I think if we're getting an influx of sort of all people like growing up, children, they're going to need something quick. I think, you know what I mean.
What are you going to do about transport? And this is one of the big issues. Now I've looked at your kind of manifesto.
Yes.
And you've set things out. There's a lot of no's in it, Stoney, as opposed to a lot of might happens. No, switch off the traffic lights. No,
not all of them. Not all of them.
No
Steve.
residents. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
No residence parking zones as a cash cow. No cycle paths are a waste of money. No 20-mile-an-hour zone. It's going to be a free for all under Mayor Garnett, isn't it?
Shouldn't it be? Shouldn't it be first come first served? Like,
No, there's going to be order, hasn't there?
You say a free for all, I think the resident parking, they all seem to be money spinners. I don't know. I should manage this. If you turn up and there's a parking space, I think I always say first come first served. Where I live in Whitchurch, we got like lanes at the back of my house, loads of lanes, and people come in from say Farrington, Gurney, Wells, and they park up right there and they catch the bus into town. Now I don't blame them. I would probably do exactly the same. So there's that scenario, but you do need more parking spaces, I believe, because it's only going to get worse. You're really going to get more cars. They're going to get less.
So no cycle paths. They're a waste of time.
No cycle. I did say I'm fed up with the wasting the money on cycle paths that people don't use. Like you know, the one I did mention, and it was absolutely true. Somebody pulled me up and said, "I think your statistics are wrong." They was not. I was out on Rector Hill, the big cycle path. I think it cost £2 million. It goes from Clarence Road, from Rector Hill to Temple Meads, and and it was raining, so I like to clarify. I sat in the restaurant there. They allowed me because a friend of mine was there, so I did stay there for 2 to 3 hours.
And nobody was using it. Very few.
3 people was on my side of the road on the pavement.
But this is Cycle City, isn't it? You mean millions of pounds pumped
it's becoming a Cycle City.
Yeah, more people now using bikes.
Do you ride a bike?
More people using bikes and pedestrians.
Do you ride a bike,
using
Steve?
cars to get into. No, I don't. I use it. I find the bus is too expensive.
Yeah.
I drive in.
Bus, well, you go.
So, yeah, it's a big problem in this city. But I'm not the person who has to come up with the answers.
True,
you are. So what about things like Metro Bus and getting things like that sorted out?
Well, if the Metro Bus is going from, say, is it Bradley Stoke to Bristol Airport, you know, and stop offs, and how many bus stops are going to be? How many buses are there going to be? And where can normal people catch the bus? Where they? I mean, I've looked at the plans and everything, and I can't see that the bus stop where I would go if I was going from Whitchurch to Bradley Stoke. Where would I catch my bus, my Metro bus? At the moment, I don't know.
All right. You said you don't want a New York. You don't want a city that's growing up. What about the big business that's coming here? This is a city that's big in the digital age, isn't it? It's big in multimedia. Words I think that you would be the first to say float over the top of your head because you're not into any of that stuff.
Well,
so how can you lead from the front on all of that?
Well, I think the businesses that come here because, like I said, it's a fabulous place. The businesses, but haven't we got businesses in Bristol that are Bristolian people that got their same sort of business? We got a lot of people comes in to work, and a lot of people in Bristol goes out to work, which I don't think it will ever change. But I wish it to stay where, you know, your first option, if you wanted, say, a motorway built, let's see how many Bristol builders could build that motorway before we have to go outside. And no doubt we'd have to go outside sooner or later. But as you said, sign of the times.
All right, and you did mention pulling people around you who know what they're doing. What about a cabinet? I mean, are you going to work with all the parties or the people
yes,
you don't want in
100%. I mean, I'm not that. I'm not the cleverest person in the world. I understand what I want for Bristol, but I'd have to pass the buck. Is that what you say? Sort of say, well, if you want to talk to me about transport,
maybe pass the buck's not the best expression. I think a lot of councillors and politicians do pass pass the buck. You
No,
mean
or
delegate?
pass the
give
job
somebody
on
else
then,
the job. Yeah.
I mean, if somebody said about transport
Yeah.
and I had a transport person on my committee,
Yeah.
I said, well, can you talk to them?
Yeah.
And then I'd listen, then give my views.
Yeah.
What the
All right. 10-second answer on this one. Say you are elected on May
Yeah.
the 5th. What's the first thing you're going to do as Mayor of Bristol?
The first thing I would do is try and sort out one thing at a time and not too many things at a time. And obviously, like you said, the traffic and the housing, I think most important. And I think the people, what do you call them,
All right. Well, listen, I think if I had a red fedora, I'd probably tip it to you as well and wish you, with all the rest, the very best of luck. Good to see you, Stoney.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. There we are, Stoney Garnett. Thanks very much indeed. 13 candidates in all. Here they are, all asking for your vote next month. I'll be meeting each and every one of them at this time, only here on Bristol News. Tomorrow, another independent candidate, John Langley, will be with me live, so make sure that you join us for that one. From all of us here in the studio, from your City TV channel, from all of us here, bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.